I'm a big fan of the second generation of Pokémon. In fact, those are the first Pokémon games I ever played, and they made me a Pokémon fan even up to this day. But one thing I never imagined that would be leaked over 20 years later is the 1997 Nintendo Spaceworld demo of Pokémon Gold and Silver. These are demos that many thought were just lost to time, but not only have they been leaked, but these are hugely important. So in today's video, we're going over three things. What is the 1997 Nintendo Spaceworld Pokémon Gold and Silver demo? What is contained within these demos, and how does it differ from Pokémon Gold and Silver, the final versions? And why is it ultimately important to Pokemon in general? Welcome to Stuff We Play, home of everything weird and retro. If that sounds cool to you, why not subscribe? And what can be more weird and retro than a demo version of a game early in development from over 20 years ago? This is Pokemon Gold and Silver, the 1997 Spaceworld demo. Nintendo Spaceworld was an event where Nintendo would show off many of their new products and games, like Zelda, in this case Pokemon. It was in Japan, and this was the first chance people actually had to go and play new games such as these. This came at an interesting point in Pokemon Gold and Silver's development. Their development cycle could only be described as a bit of development hell. These games were originally conceived as Pokemon 2 Gold and Silver, though by the time this demo came out, the 2 had been dropped and they'd just been known as Pokemon Gold and Silver. At this point, they still only contained the Johto region. This was before Satoru Iwata had to step in and actually compress the game down himself. Fun fact, because of how great a job Iwata did at compressing Pokemon Gold and Silver, they were able to add in the Kanto region, a bunch of other stuff. But there was a lot of things that were left out of these games, and that's what we're about to go over. First things first, they look completely different. They're very obviously still running on the Red and Blue engine, hence why the game is being presented in black and white here. The graphics are also very much so different as well. The towns look a bit closer to how they seemed in Red and Blue, and all the layouts are completely different. Something that's actually really fascinating here is that Johto itself does not look like how it did in its final form, but instead seems to look like Japan itself as a nation being turned on its side. By accessing the debug menu, which can be accessed in the debug enabled version of these demos by pressing the start and select versions at the title screen, you're given a variety of options. One even has a completed Pokedex. And that's where things get interesting here. Though many of the graphics are pulled from Red and Blue, in fact a lot of the sprites are pulled from there, and all the music tracks here are indeed just from Red and Blue versions, all the original Pokemon designs from number 152 to number 251 seem to be different. There are some that are the same, such as Chikorita and Steelix, but most of them are different. For example, the other two starters that aren't Chikorita are completely different. One is called Hanaguma, and in its original form looked a bit like Pikachu and Karusu, which was a water type that I could only imagine would have gained an ice typing at some point as well. And in its final form, it looks like Samurott from Pokemon Gen 5. Perhaps Game Freak went back and pulled some designs in newer games from this version of Pokemon Gold and Silver, and that definitely makes sense, seeing as, well, take a look at this one over here that looks like a seal. Looks like Popplio from Pokemon Sun and Moon. Some Pokemon, though, are noticeably absent. Mainly Lugia. Even in Silver version, there is no Lugia, only Hoa. And also, what the hell is a Celebi thing? Perhaps a precursor to Virizion and also in Pokemon Black and White? What's also really fascinating here is a lot of the new Pokemon, quote unquote. The Pokemon didn't make the cut. Along with the original versions of the two Water and Fire starter Pokemon, there's also this version of Noctowl and this version of Ladybug that looks like it has a tumor on its back. There are pre-evolutions for Pokemon such as Vulpix, and some even had new evolutions, such as this one, which was supposed to be an evolution for Farfetch'd. They're fascinating. All of them have both front and back sprites, and by using the battle testing feature in debug mode, most can be used in battle, though some admittedly crash the game or appear as missing no. What's also really interesting here is some of the cut features. There is a proposed skateboard that you could actually use in the game along with your bike, but what's also interesting is by holding down the B button, you'll actually run faster. What this means is that the running shoes, which were technically introduced in Pokemon TCG on the Game Boy, but officially in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, perhaps could have appeared as early as in Pokemon Gold and Silver. There's also a variety of mini-games. Along with the slot machines, there's a poker mini-game, a Voltorb Flip-S mini-game, among others, and it makes you wonder, why would they remove features? The final thing I'm going to bring of note here is the Pokegear. There is a call function here, though it just doesn't work here. That wasn't implemented. And there's also a map feature and a completely different working tuner. As for the demo itself, it just takes you through Proto Newbark Town, and you can't even go in all the buildings. You can't go inside the professor's lab, a couple routes, and then finally a gate that happens right before the Proto version of Violet City, where you'll encounter your rival character character and be teleported back to the title screen. But why is this so important? I'm really huge into Pokemon Gold and Silver. I liked it enough that I met up with some friends last year and we did a 45-minute long retrospective on it. This is important for the history because this was 1997 and this is essentially a completely different game to what we eventually got in 1999. But that's interesting because in 1998 we got Pokemon Yellow version, and that's fascinating because it makes me think, was Pokemon Yellow just a stopgap? It's interesting, and it begs the question, are Pokemon Let's Go for the Nintendo Switch, are these two games just going to be stopgaps while Nintendo and the Pokemon Company and Game Freak all work towards releasing the Generation 8 Pokemon games? Food for thought, but I may be beginning to ramble on just a bit. What are your thoughts on the 1997 Nintendo Spaceworld Pokemon Gold and Silver demo? If you wanted to see me live, I actually got all the footage that you're seeing right now from a playthrough I did recently on Twitch, so definitely follow me over there. But if you don't want to, why don't you just let me know your thoughts on this down in the comment section below, and while you're at it, why don't you subscribe to Stuff We Play for more great content like this. So with that, thank you very much for watching, stay classy, and I'll see you next time.